Hey, welcome everybody to Rumor and Innuendo. I'm your host, Robert Karplis. I know what you're thinking. Where the hell's Dom? I'm thinking the same thing. He just pinged me a few seconds ago to say that he is having some connection issues. So I will be fielding things. I don't know what's going on with my hair. I will be fielding things here today for all of your rumor and innuendo related needs. I have to stop doing that voice. I apologize. I want to say hi to some of the folks who are joining us here. Dre Owens says, just made the live show. The Wrestling Old Head, RNI Tribe, good after morning. Could Crown Jewel, in fact, be Tiffy time? Could she cash in and win both belts? Let's get raw, you guys, and let's get excited. Dominic D'Angelo is here today. Hey, Dom.
What's up, guys? Hey, Robert, how are you?
I'm good. There's a graphic on top of a graphic, and now it's gone.
Open it up, baby. Ooh, yeah.
So yesterday, because we had Hurricane Milton, which came through here last week, it had caused some damage to some of the cable lines in the area, and they go, "Hey, we're Comcast. We're part of the NBC Universal world that airs Monday Night Raw. We're going to be great." And at 11:47, we're going to start doing that work. And boom, I had no Wi-Fi, no internet. And the great thing about our friends at StreamYard, whom we love, there is no way to just call in.
No.
As if this was like, AM talk radio. As if this was the beginning of an episode of Frasier. But sadly, it is not. But man, we have a ton of stuff to talk about here. Mr. D'Angelo, I don't like that you're wearing the Yankees hat because you don't seem to bring teams luck.
I know, right? I didn't bring my Jets luck yesterday, that's for sure either. Oh, my God. You want to talk about frustrating? My goodness. That's some bad booking right there.
I don't. We will talk some football a little later on in the show, but right now we've got. You've got the rundown. I don't know why I'm doing your job. You steer, you direct. I just dance like one of those little wind-up monkeys.
Well, Robert, since we didn't have you yesterday on the show, figure we should get just your overall input on AEW Wrestle Dream and your thoughts on that. I know you covered it in depth with going to be probably on the Patreon and stuff like that, but. Let's hear your thoughts on Wrestle Dream. What you got?
Sure. It kind of felt like. Did you ever watch The Price is Right?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
When somebody gets it wrong and they play that music.
Yep.
It's kind of how I felt coming off of Wrestle Dream. I think that there was 10 matches on the main card, 12 matches total. The matches were all very solid. I just felt like nothing came out of that where I'm like, ooh, there's intrigue. They're going to build on this. They're really going to be able to deliver. And I think that's kind of the bigger issue that goes on with our friends in AEW, that things are positioned in such a way where, yeah, we could get a lot of really interesting, exciting stuff coming off of Wrestle Dream. But what winds up ultimately happening is they just drop it. The biggest one, and this is before the Dynamite, and we know that the Dynamite will be on tomorrow evening, and roughly 300,000 of you will watch. But like the big opening match was Hangman Adam Page versus Switchblade Jay White.
Yeah,
hell of a match. Both those guys went out there and were like, "We're going to show you that we can do the wrestling good." That's what they said in the back. They huddled up. They got.
Is that how they said it?
Like, hey man, we're gonna do the wrestling good. And they did. I'm not doing my Michael Hayes. I'm trying very, very hard. And for clarity's sake, all due respect to Bruce Pritchard, who likes to do the do. No, the official noise for Michael P.S. Hayes when you're in the writer's room was ooh, ooh, beep, beep.
Whoa.
That was the noise.
Breaking news.
Yes. Ooh, ooh, beep, beep. I got an idea. That was every Michael Hayes. I will not do the Michael Hayes impression. The Michael Hayes impression, the Kevin Dunn impression, very rarely does it come up, but when it does, it's good. And the Dusty impression, which in hindsight is so much more problematic than any of us ever realized at the time. Like we're all walking around doing the Dusty impression in like restaurants, and then realize, oh, to the casual observer, they might think that we're doing something incredibly offensive.
Good point. Wait, there's a Kevin Dunn impression? There's a Kevin Dunn impression I was unaware? Wow.
Yes, there is. It's a stellar impression. It's exactly like him. Guys, this is why he's not in the documentary. He was. They didn't have ponchos. They spit all over. It's awful. Vince, get off that girl. We have a meeting to start.
Oh my god!
I truly, genuinely dislike that man. And I'm one of the nicer ones about him. But yeah, like, so the point. What the hell's going on with this show?
I don't know.
We're off the rails. I love it. This is the best Rumor and Innuendo show we've ever done. So Jay White and Hangman Adam Page kind of sprung up out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, we'll see. You know, Jay White, yes, he's back, but it sure feels like we're building Hangman Adam Page to be a major, serious threat. At the end of the pay-per-view, needles notwithstanding, he did beat Swerve. He won this big, massive war. And then he turns around and loses to Jay White in the opening match. And part of me hopes, there must be a plan. Tony Khan would not just do something and then not follow up on it. That is crazy.
Crazy talk.
But we all know he's going to probably wind up kind of dropping the ball on this. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. You had returns on this show. I thought that the entire situation where Jack Perry, Jungle Boy, beats Shibata. You're like, hey, what a moment. Out comes Danny Garcia. Oh, that's right. Danny Garcia is going after gold. Totally on board. This totally makes sense. We're squaring off. And then MJF shows up. So Danny Garcia not advertised for this pay-per-view.
Nope.
So MJF shows up on the off chance that Daniel Garcia is going to appear as an unadvertised competitor on this broadcast, to then reignite his issue with Danny Garcia that Garcia did not mention last week on Dynamite during his big return. It's almost like somebody was listening, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got to remind you of this. And then, but wait, there's more. MJF is in the ring, and who returns for his return? You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Adam Cole, baby.
That's right.
Adam Cole, Tony Khan's second favorite thin, white, bland strip. But, yeah. So, Adam Cole, who did not know MJF was going to be there, because MJF did not know Danny Garcia was going to be there, appears. And guess what, guys? The devil story never happened.
Hey,
it was
that's
all
not a bad
a
thing,
of your
though.
imagination. Yes, they opened the door. Patrick Duffy was in the shower, and it was all a dream.
That was
Before you got that, and that's really all that matters. That's why you're our people, because you're going to get Dallas references in 2024. So that's where my frustration with this pay-per-view came from. Then at the end, in the finale of this epic show with mountains in the background and all this other nonsense, we get Moxley beating Bryan Danielson clean. He chokes him out, and the referee looked conflicted. And at first, I thought we're getting a Nick Patrick situation here, maybe.
Oh.
That the referee did this and looked conflicted because he was blackmailed. He had to. He's like, they've got his kid somewhere. They've got, Aubrey Edwards like hanging upside down by her foot like Dominic Mysterio, and they got to rescue her. But no, it was a referee's decision. Jon Moxley has beaten Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson's regular career ends via this chokeout. So the audience, some of which are just pissed at what they see, some of them are confused. So they don't even know how to properly respond during this melee.
Yeah.
And then after the match is over, you get everybody coming out, and then Wheeler Yuta's there. And I'm going, I said last week, Wheeler Yuta's not going to turn, because that would have made last week's Dynamite Tuesday that 114 of you watched irrelevant, because Yuta had the hammer in his hand. I'm going to use this remote control as a pretending hammer. He had the hammer in his hand, and he's like looking at Bryan and looking at those guys, and he doesn't use it. So was he not on board then? And then afterwards saw the Dynamite ratings and was like, I can't subscribe to Bryan as champion anymore.
I got to hit him with a hammer or something.
So none of this makes any sense. And then we see a return of the most beloved AEW character possible, Baggy the Plastic Bag.
He's like Tally from South Park. Oh, yeah.
He's a little bit like Towley. Yes, and then the wrestling old head, Excalibur, started crying.
Now, was that a shoot? Did he not shoot? But was he crying over commentary? I thought that was like an exaggeration of what he was doing. Was he crying? Was he crying?
I was too busy laughing to understand or pay attention to the crying, because I'm like, so Bryan Danielson's full-time career was going to come to an end when he lost his title.
Correct.
We saw with Ric Flair, when Ric Flair was told you're going to lose, with the first match you lose, your career is over. And you got that iconic, and I was there live, that iconic, I'm sorry, I love you, super kick pin. And Ric Flair never wrestled again.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Google that, but Ric Flair never wrestled again after that match, WrestleMania 24.
Never.
So you get this sort of fart in church situation. You get this moment where it is not Bryan pinned definitively. It is not Bryan tapping out. It is referee making a controversial decision to end Bryan's career, essentially. And then they do this angle where they choke him out with this plastic bag.
Mm-hmm.
Again. He's already been beaten. He's already done. He's already gone. You've proven your point, but we got to use the plastic bag a second time. And then you get a couple guys who run out there to go try to like rescue him in Darby and Orange Cassidy and Private Party, who we saw.
Jeff Jarrett. Don't forget Jeff Jarrett.
Just getting there, Dom. You have all these baby faces that go around out there. And then you have that dastardly you already ruined the joke. So I hate you, Dom.
I'm glad I did.
Damn it, Dom. Yeah. But yeah. So they're like crying while Bryan is being loaded onto a stretcher and wheeled out. So as a wrestling fan, you're watching this going, Bryan's going to come back and he's going to get his revenge. Oh, wait, no, he's not a full-time performer anymore. In fact, he's not actually under contract with AEW anymore. So the guy that I'm hoping is going to return is a non-contracted performer. This is why I said I did not know how I was going to feel about Wrestle Dream. And when I look back on it, I'm like, were there any matches that were terrible? No. I think that their matches were executed really, really well. And if you want to tune in to an AEW pay-per-view because you know that you're going to get 3.5, 4-star, 5-star matches, God bless you, go into and spend your hard-earned money. If you're watching this for the other part of what makes wrestling incredible, which is the emotional connection to what you are witnessing, it did not feel like it was there. The Darby Allin Brody King match was a very solid, very physical match. At the end of the day, we said it wasn't going to mean anything. Guess what? Didn't really mean anything. It was there to remind you that Darby can beat big guys. So when he tries to run out there at the end to go attack Moxley, you're like, oh, yeah, Darby could theoretically win the title from the guy he just lost to at Grand Slam.
So I think some of the stuff, I'm with you on a lot of this aspect of like, it doesn't really continue anything. It's not getting you invested into a whole lot of stuff, with the exception, and I'm more on the side of you where it's like Tony Khan has not really given us a vote of confidence that he's going to keep things perpetuating moving forward when it comes to storyline stuff. But I feel with Jay White getting a clean win off of Hangman Page right off the bat, off a fresh face turn for him, I think that could really speak to making Jay White one of your big baby faces of the company and furthering and establishing a new classic feud between Hangman and somebody else, and that being Jay White. So I think there's something there. When it comes to Darby and Brody, I love that match. And there was the moment after the match where the two shook hands, so we could see Brody King align with Darby Allin down the line. No,
he's part of the spooky guys.
He might not be.
Right.
Yeah,
he's a spooky guy. He's a spooky guy, Dom. He can't join. He can't join. He's a spooky guy. There are rules.
There's rules here. This is not Smokey.
Rules, God damn it. But right here, Wrestling All Hood points out, I wonder if the last shot of Darby, Hook, Cassidy, and Garcia was done intentionally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you are trying to now reestablish that we've got these young guys, these pillars, who we're going to build on. Mm-hmm. The problem is the last round of pillars, did not withstand the heavy winds.
Yeah, we had Britt.
No, Britt. No, the four pillars officially based on the T-shirt. It was Darby Allin, it was Jack Perry, it was Sammy Guevara, and it was MJF.
Oh, okay. I thought Britt
Those
was.
were the 4 pillars with which this was going to be built upon. The Orange Cassidy pep talk earlier with Jerry Lynn
Yes.
felt weirdly out of place, and I went like, oh, we're trying to remind people Orange Cassidy's a main event style guy. But don't worry, we saw him in the Jericho match a little earlier.
Yeah.
And the overarching theme for this Moxley storyline is they're working on behalf of something. Would you agree?
Yes. Correct.
That seems to be the who's the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
Who is coming with the money?
Here comes the money, maybe?
Possibly, but we didn't get that reveal. We also did a Swerve segment where we did not get Lashley.
Nope.
Nor did we get Swerve really making a definitive statement of where he is. So I don't know why you had that on your pay-per-view other than they were in Washington and they wanted to bring Swerve back out. I had hypothesized, pontificated, whatever, that the finish of this pay-per-view was going to be the heels beating down Danielson and Swerve being the one to make the save and cementing himself as your top babyface.
Did not happen.
We did not get that. The match that I apologize to those of you that I spoiled because I got some mean tweets. Last week I had predicted what was going to happen at the end of that triple threat, that it was going to be Kyle Fletcher who was going to attack Oscar. And we got like that. Booking made perfect sense. Totally fine with that. Mariah May beating Willow clean. Fine. Let's establish, because we know this was just a match to get us to the next thing. The Bucks beating Private Party, sure. But man, your phone is blowing.
I know, I'm blowing up only Hollywood right now. I'm moving this phone.
Yeah. So what's bizarre is, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that the Young Bucks and Jack Perry and Kazuchika Okada were starting a war with Tony Khan.
Yeah.
It was the only time we saw physicality on Tony. I mean, major physicality. That dude took a Melcher driver or whatever, the TK driver, and he sold it like on In Living Color when they would fling the Fire Marshal Bill body. Yeah. And we got nothing out of that other than not Adam Pearce, Christopher Daniels as a somewhat authority figure sometimes. So the Moxley crew trying to take over, while there was already a group of folks who were trying to take over, is a little bit why I'm like, yeah, we'll see what comes out of Wrestle Dream. But at least we're going to finally see the MJF Danny Garcia story pay off in an MJF Adam Cole match to pay off a Devil storyline that never happened.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, I think. Yeah, they got a lot of loose ends to tie up, if you will. A lot of heel factions going on. There's just a certain amount of confusion and not you get a sense of where they're kind of going, but they have to give us the goodwill and show us the goodwill that they know what they're doing when it comes to this stuff, because we haven't gotten that in the past. So new TV deal. Is this New Horizons? Oh, we didn't even mention that Jimmy Jacobs is reportedly gone from AEW on top of that as well.
Really?
Yes, he's gone. Just mutually parted ways. Say they're on good terms, but Jimmy is done. And he was notoriously Tony Khan's right-hand man, his main assistant, everything like that. So take that for what you will. Maybe this will indicate a change. Maybe it won't.
Jimmy's a brilliant guy who understands wrestling really, really well. I think that, his unfortunate departure from WWE due to that Young Bucks photo curtailed what could have been a really fruitful opportunity for him long-term in WWE. Wrestling Old Head says Jacobs said he was burnt out, apparently. Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that
watching this show. Something I did watch, and I know that you watched.
Jets game?
You know what? Since we're here, since we're at that point, we may as well talk about it, because look, this is the best time of the year, guys. Football is back. We're talking NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and I want to talk about the Gator game and that glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where your inner GM comes alive, setting the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV, and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy everyone ridicules in the group chat. But listen, when you're over here making sure your fantasy team is dialed up, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets left on the bench. Let's be honest, nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine. That's where Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down there with the Lawnmower 5.0 to taking care of those rogue nose and ear hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0, this is the lineup that keeps you looking and feeling like a champ on and off the field. Join over 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by heading over to manscaped.com. Use the code RUMOR for 20% off plus free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of grooming this season. Can't help it. I saw MVP. I thought they were going to be talking about MVP in this. They did not, but you go over to manscaped.com, you throw in that code RUMOR, you're going to get some free gifts as well. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra doesn't stop at grooming essentials. It also comes with 2 free gifts, the Boxer 2.0 Midnight Bravo and the Shed 2.0 Toiletry Bag, premium gear to ensure you'll always be ready for action, whether at home or on the road. I am actually traveling this Friday to Gainesville to go see the University of Florida Gators take on Kentucky, and I have my Shed 2.0 toiletry bag all ready to go for this trip. Guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code RUMOR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code RUMOR at manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything this season throws your way, like Graham Mertz being out forever. He's now injured. He's done. He has called it a career.
Great googly moogly.
Yes, but Raw last night was taped during a time in which Graham Mertz was still up and spry a week ago Monday.
How about that?
This was either this was a pre-taped show, or they flew over from Europe, went back to St. Louis, Missouri. That guy in the CM Punk t-shirt with the winter hat and mittens happened to be front row once again, and they put on a 2-hour edition of Raw. Dom, what did you think of this show?
I thought it was fine. It makes a lot of sense that it was pre-taped, considering nothing really crazy happened in a lot of ways. But I thought overall it was a decent follow-up for a 2-hour show. I think they have some work to do in tweaking out how they lay out the program when it's a 2-hour format. But overall, I think they did a lot of justice with a lot of different storylines, and that includes the big one with Jimmy and Jay too, crossing paths. So what did you think, Robert?
It was a very safe 2-hour program. Mm-hmm. They relied heavily on the women's division.
Yes.
And when you're doing these shows, you have to do back-to-back tapings the same night. You're not going to trust that crowd to be on their A game for 4 hours.
Correct.
Which is why you got a number of video packages, more so than you normally would have. So the Bronson Reed sit down with Adam Pearce that I did not like.
You didn't like that?
I didn't like it because I didn't like his shirt.
Was that a Vader shirt? I thought he had
a big Van Vader shirt. The problem is, certain wrestlers, CM Punk can wear a Bret Hart t-shirt, makes sense. Kevin Owens can wear a Dusty Rhodes shirt, it's fine. The Rock can wear a Roots of Fight shirt, it looks hip. Bronson Reed is he's not a human, he's a monster. I don't want to think that he's a monster who happens to have a closet full of pro wrestling t-shirts waiting there for him. Like he's like, I know what shirt I'm going to put on for my interview. It's like, no, I just want him to focus on, I squash people with tsunamis, and that's it. Not, I squash people with tsunamis, and did you guys check out this sweet big Van Vader shirt? It's awesome. And then you're thinking of Harley Race with his blonde afro. It's brutal. So here that was what that bugged me. They did the Braun Breaker video package as opposed to doing it in person. The opening segment of Raw. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this for a moment here. It was like a Christopher Nolan film. This was Inception. This was Interstellar. This was trying to explain the plot of Tenet.
Oh my.
Rhea Ripley went out there, pre-taped last Monday, to talk about a match that happened the Friday after the last Monday show that crowd did not already see, with a video package inserted from the Friday show that the Monday crowd from last week is theoretically reacting to without knowing what's going on. And then Tiffany Stratton is out there talking about what happened on Friday without actually talking about what happened on Friday because it hasn't happened yet. But we're trying to pretend it has already happened. And then you have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez attacking both because of what happened at the end of SmackDown without that having happened yet. When Tiffany Stratton had referenced, don't mess with Nia Jax, when Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax have not yet crossed paths in front of those fine folks in Missouri. And then you had Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defend the women's tag team titles, which happened a week ago Monday. But then they showed up on NXT Live wearing the women's tag titles. They defended those titles on SmackDown Friday wearing those tag titles. So here, it was sort of fait accompli. Are they going to win? Are they going to retain those titles or not? Which would have been like 1991 WWF Superstars level of booking to have them fake wear the titles that they don't actually have. And then you have their number one contenders sitting ringside for Raw, even though they just lost on SmackDown to Jade and Bianca. This was all the first half hour. My brain imploded within itself. So, yeah. Like, Tony makes this look really hard. WWE makes this look like that Charlie Day meme where he's got all the strings.
The stuff behind him.
Well, no, so like Michael Hayes trying to make sense is, well, no, this happened in June. But this is not going to happen until next year. And I'm like, I don't know. The Jimmy and Jay stuff, which also was responding to what happened on SmackDown, which hadn't happened yet, was fine. Like, hey, we're going to tease that reunion out because we have to get through the treading water PLE that is Crown Jewel. But I think we can all agree the real crown jewel of this show is Mr. Dominic D'Angelo, who is also the crown jewel of a number of other shows he produces, including Something to Sports Entertainment With, which I recorded this morning, which should be up now for Patreon subscribers over at Working Stiff.
Oh, it will be momentarily, Robert. You just hold on right there. Yeah, I want to build anticipation and get your thoughts. That's what this is about. Yes, that'll be up later today. Sign up for the Working Stiff Patreon to the highest level, and you can hear Robert review Raw a little bit more. Get in depth. Yes, as far as me, check out One of a Kind with RVD. New episode just released yesterday. We talk about Eddie Guerrero, his chemistry with Eddie Guerrero. We talk about Ultimate Warrior, his relationship with the Ultimate Warrior, and he gives a little details behind the WWE Legends deal that he signed for 3 years already, but for some reason it made news this week. So
it was weird that made, you know why that made news this week? Because he was on another show and he was talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Glad that I know what's going on with Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, I'm glad you're aware of that stuff. So yes,
I would know. I've only worked with Rob once.
That's it. Really?
He was on the shelf. The only time I dealt with Rob was we did an ECW house show. It's the only ECW house show at the ECW arena.
Wow.
So I got to interview Rob there for that, which was great. I mean, you'll find this hard to believe. A laid back guy.
Yeah.
Someone who's not a laid back guy is me, but my co-host on Working Stiff, Scott Chaplin, sure as hell is. And he and I sat down and we had us a chat about all things wrestling. We're going to be talking Wrestle Dream, him and I, in depth of the Patreon. And then this week's episode, hopefully, as long as SoundCloud cooperates, I'll be up on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get podcasts, which is where you can get the audio version of this show. In case you missed it, or you just don't want to look at Dom and I, and you just want to hear us in your ear holes, by all means, go ahead and do that. But we are going to be back here tomorrow at noon Eastern for a brand new edition of Rumor and Innuendo on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative_ish X account, the SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo, Working Stiff, and ad-free shows. So on behalf of the Athletic Curse, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
I'm in a New York state of mind, baby. New York state of mind.